Well, hi guys, how have you been? It's been a minute. Here I'm Alexis, and this is David, of course, here for our Agents of Shield reaction commentary series for the first time in such a long time. This is our first recording of the year 2026 for this particular show, and it's been the first time I believe that we've joined you guys since maybe early December. I know. We said it was going to be only a month off. Well, it's been more than just a month, and I know we've had other, shall we say, priorities with what we wanted to record here on the channel. And also, I do think it was time for just a little bit more of a break, you know? And I do think it was a break well utilized, you know? We're now going to begin today with the first episode of, you know, just not at all an extraordinary season of television. You know, this is just the fourth season of Agents of Shield. You know, the one that everyone says is the best one, and kind of undoubtedly is. You know,
Hmm.
no biggie, no biggie at all. I just want to say for the Shield stands that have been with us, this is a reaction commentary series made for the longtime Shield fan that wants to come back here and talk endlessly about one of our favorite shows of all time. And I can think of no better way to start off by thanking everyone who's been a part of the journey so far and reliving this series, including, of course, you, David, and also someone very important to us, um, who we've included on here for just about every episode. Back when we started this is obviously, we're recording in April of 2026. We started recording this series 2 years ago this month, in April of 2024, with season one. And from the very beginning, we have included someone very special at the end of our reactions because we wanted to, we include a lot of the written reviews from the past when these were new, but then also how someone with a fresh pair of eyes, right, is looking at it. And we've always included the reactions of One Media. And, through, finding him through those reactions, I've been able to really kind of also explore a lot of the other reactions that he does. Truly, I do believe he is one of the best that is doing it today. He just comes across as so earnest and so genuine, and I mean, I don't agree with all of his takes, but I do see in a lot, especially in his reactions to Shield, the man has taste. And how do I know he has taste? Because he, from the very beginning and even up until the very end, has said this is genuinely the single most underrated show, not just in Marvel, but just as far as its genre is concerned. And he's right.
Mm.
And we've all appreciated, seeing his takes at the end of all the episodes. And we are recording this the week that he finished the whole show. He just dropped his reaction for season 7, episode 13, the series finale, and it is very bittersweet because he started right before we did. I want to say, even though of course he was doing it literally every single week nonstop. Although we obviously have a lot of breaks built into our schedule, but he started August 2023, and he just ended the series right now in April of 2026. So a little over 2.5 years
Mhm.
from to do that every single week, which just give you an idea that we're not stopping. We still got a lot of show left to go. So we're gonna be here for a hot minute. Which I think is great because, look, honestly, if it hasn't been, just already flat out said, this is my favorite show and still continues to be my favorite show. I am just so pumped because I haven't really watched a full episode of this show since the last time you and I did. And if memory serves correct, not only is this season the best, but it doesn't really waste any time to get to that point. I think off the bat, it starts off and you're like, whoa, what is this? But I wanted to just put that out there and just say thank you to Ami for doing these reactions. I really do appreciate him and his voice. And also just, through these reactions and especially how they're, taking to the show, this is how we keep it alive and this is how we keep it moving. By that same extension, I also want to go ahead and extend just a fresh fuck you to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just because why not? I think, and is it playful? Maybe, but it's also just genuine when I say fuck you. Because they continue to say fuck us, right, to the whole fan base of the show, because for whatever reason, this is the one and only thing that is still not allowed to the party. Now, I don't believe it's. I think Daredevil season 2, the reboot, is on Disney Plus right now, and I believe they've already had leaked photos of what the finale is going to entail and what the next season will have. And it's like, oh, all the Defenders are back! Yay! I'm not. I'm not sorry if I spoiled that for you. I'm sorry. I'm not, because why? Why would you care? They were treated like shit. No one cared about them, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, they're back, yeah. Which is just another reminder of how, once again, the only people who are never allowed into the tent, into the party, are kind of the ones who have been holding up the whole thing in the first place. I have been unbelievably radicalized as a result of how great this show is and how great it continues to be. And I'm sorry to say, you know, there is nothing else in the MCU. The Guardians movies, I don't even consider them MCU. I just consider them James Gunn films, which to me exists in a different, I guess, island of my mind. It's just not in the same vein. But like, I'm gonna excise those 3 movies and just look at the rest of the MCU. And I'm sorry to say to those haters out there, Shield is the best. It just is. And that isn't to say that there isn't some competition. I'm looking at you, Daredevil, the original series from Netflix, you know? Please. So I just, wanted to get, give people their fair share of credit. Ami for, supporting the show, and also just that fuck you to Marvel for continuing to snub us at every turn. And it's funny because it still continues to be like a punching bag of sorts. So just to give people up, I know I'm getting through a lot of things at the very top because since the last few months that we've been with you, we've done so much that we would hope that you would want to check out, like reactions to the High School Musical movies, as far as like regular podcast episodes on our regular show, talking about all the things that are happening in the world of movie and also movies and politics now, since that's just, hand in hand. I also just want to say there are a lot of people who don't want to have politics in their movie discussion. Blame the right. Blame the conservatives. They're the ones really that made it political. That's it. And so if you're going to make it political, we're going to make it political. That's what it is. So we've been having an amazing time doing that. And also, we're also trying to, we make such long form content. We've always done that. And we've never done the justice that I think our shows, I honestly do think that our conversations are worth remembering. I love the discussions that we have. If I thought that we were doing a piss poor piece of shit, why would I come on here every week and and continue to do it? So lately, we're doing a better job of like clipping moments from the show, certain conversations, and putting them online for people to actually watch. And I'm happy to say that it's getting someone to watch it. So I wanted to just go ahead and beginning with this, we're just going to promote our TikTok page, which is run by our, wonderful person here, David. David, where can people find us on TikTok? I believe they just search for Red Spotlight.
Yeah, Red Spotlight Entertainment. So it's pretty much everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, although we don't use that one much. So
no, not at all. I mean, but yeah, generally, if you Google Red Spotlight, we have our video podcasts, we have our audio podcasts on Castbox, Spotify, all that stuff, Apple Podcasts, and then of course our TikTok account, which is we're gonna be pumping up a lot more of our clips there because I just feel like we have so many wonderful moments that kind of get lost, especially when we get as many episodes as we do. But funnily enough, how this connects back to Shield, it's like there was a comment we just received in the last hour, had nothing to do with the show, and this guy just took a pot shot at it. So we were having the video's topic was about how Tom Holland's career hasn't been all that great outside of Marvel, and he had a comment that basically didn't hear to what a word we said, because I don't understand where that mentality came from. But then he took a cheap shot at you, David, saying, how dare you have an opinion? Did you not read this comment? You need to actually look at this comment. He said the guy in the middle, which was you, shouldn't open his mouth when he has an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. poster behind him.
Oh, no way. Hold on.
So it's like, if anyone was wondering out there if like the bias or the hate had dwindled, I think it has, but I don't think it's gone. And obviously, once something gets a bad rap, it is hard for so many people to overlook what they've heard previously. So yeah, and I didn't really like take any of that to heart. I was just like putting it back at him, and I said, well, if you think that Agents of Shield isn't the best in Marvel, and we've got nothing to say to each other, and then we left it at that. Appreciate the comment, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that was unnecessary, and I guess he didn't notice my Shield poster. I'm like,
Oh
yeah, I
yeah.
don't know how. I mean, we both have Shield posters displayed prominently, so I don't know how he would have missed that. But that's where we've been. That's what we've been doing, and I'm so glad that we're back on here to talk about this season, which is incredible because the lead up to this was just a different thing altogether. Um, Going into the fourth season, yes, we knew Daisy was going to be on the run, which I will tell you
Mhm.
at the time I was annoyed about. I wasn't like, oh, great, here's another storyline of like Daisy on the run. I'm like, can we not do that? That's my sentiment at the end of the third season. But I feel like, spoiler alert, they made it work really well. With what we've, and I think it was actually warranted the more they were actually exploring, because it really, the whole arc of Daisy's like return to Shield and trying to accept what had happened to her. It takes the whole season in a number of different things that helps to contribute as to why this season is so good. But the other big thing that in some ways can be interpreted as a Hail Mary on the part of, ABC executives, um Jed Whedon and Marissa Tancharoen had the idea of like, I wonder, hey, Kevin Feige or somebody at Marvel Studios who actually like acknowledges our existence and will talk to us and respond to our emails. Hey, are you using Ghost Rider? Can we use that guy? And they're like, we're not using him. Go ahead.
Mm.
And they were like, what? And then out of nowhere at San Diego Comic-Con, you have all of these like, I'll never forget what I was like. Wait, what the fuck? I saw like the subway, the trolley, like all dressed up in like Shield with like the chain, the
Mhm.
fiery chain, and I was like, Ghost Rider is come? Is it? And again, I don't mean to say like I was a big fan of Ghost Rider. I didn't know who the fuck that guy was. I mean, I knew of the Nick Cage movies.
Yeah.
It was more so that, oh fuck yes, this is the shit that people like.
Mhm.
Finally, that's gonna get some attention back on where it needs to be, because this show already at season 3 was so good and not being talked about. I said it a few times in our reactions from the last season, but because of other exciting things happening, the third season didn't get enough attention, it feels like. But with Ghost Rider being part of the ensemble, I was like, yes, people are not going to be forced to talk about us when they would be ignored on all of the comic book shows. And then what happens? Well, they like the Ghost Rider parts of the episode. They praise them, and then they were like, well, it's too bad all these other Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters are in the way of my Ghost Rider shows, what the reaction was. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah. David, your memories, if you will, of when you first heard this character was going to be involved, and how you remember other people in our orbit absorbing this news that, yes, he's coming on the show.
No, yeah, that was the most anticipated thing happening at that time. Um I don't think people bring up much about the character itself. At least, like, I didn't see like a lot of videos of people being like, "Oh, hey, this is this Ghost Rider story" and all that. It's like, and those breakdowns of who the character is, what we could anticipate seeing in the show, and all that. Didn't really see much of that. It was just mostly just excitement of, oh my gosh, they're getting Ghost Rider. This is like the thing that people want to see from a Marvel show. Just random characters, random Marvel characters, low level ones, to come on the show and see what they can do with it. So yeah, and then I feel like from ones that I saw reviews of it, they weren't they liked this Ghost Rider, but they weren't as excited about it as the rest of the season was. Because I did see one YouTube or YouTubers that were really loving the season as it went on. Just like the whole with the Ghost Rider, then the LMDs to
Yeah.
the simulation stuff. Like they were just so
Because
surprised
it
by it.
got better as it went along.
Yeah, it just
To be
really.
fair, the season did kind of get better as it kept going.
And I remember the biggest thing people were kind of like, this should be like a standard for all the superhero shows. Like do this with Arrow, like 3 arc storylines where you yeah, just basically that, just 3 arc storylines so you can spread it out more, condense a plot line, and hopefully bringing it up and all that. People really wanted that with Arrow and the Flash and all that, but it wasn't happening. There were a couple seasons where you thought maybe it was gonna happen, but it just still stuck with what they were teasing or setting up from the beginning, and just try to stretch it out as much as they could. And I get it for those because especially with the CW, they want to go on forever. They want to go on for as long as they can. What was it for Supernatural? 10, 12 seasons? I mean,
Yeah.
they always want to do that, so they got to stretch it out as much as they can. But I would really wish if they would have stuck with this 3-story arc like they did with like Shield did. Those shows would have been a lot better. And even what was it, Omni, even he was just like, as much as I love like the Arrow and the Flash shows, those ones have problems. Like
they had a lot of problems, and I think they kept getting problems their way the longer they kept going.
Yep.
I don't believe that we knew quite yet at the very beginning that this season was going to use the pod structure, and I do think like if things were better right now with television and broadcast networks and streaming services could coexist side by side, share the wealth around and actually work into delivering an amazing story that wasn't just solely focused on spending a kabillion amount of money for only like 8 episodes. Like, I don't know if we talked about it, but I think I did look it up that the number of money they were dropping on that Harry Potter season for 8 episodes was disgusting. Disgusting in terms of how bad it's going to be and how much you're spending for an actual TV show. Like now, TV seasons are costing even more than movies. And again, how dumb are movie studios and movie executives and even TV executives for doing this? This is just nonsense, obviously. But this 4th season is a model, and you would think at the time it should have been the model for other shows like this, especially to deal with, because like the whole thing with those other comic book shows is that it was one storyline for the whole 22 episodes. And to be fair to Shield, so is season 4. It just does a far better job of disguising the fact that it doesn't feel that way, because there are 3 distinct arcs. There are actual things in this episode that will shock you that, oh shit, that's a framework reference. Oh shit, that's an LMD. Like, there are previews in this episode of where this season is going to go.
Yeah, at least.
And yet it never feels like a long season, because it really feels like 3 short seasons that we're going to see right here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the advantage that Shield had was that it didn't have to rely on what was going to happen in the anticipation of the ending, because like with Arrow and all of the CW DC shows, they'll set up a villain, they'll tease you a villain, and then from there on they'll just try to milk it as much as they can, hoping that the audience will be like, oh my gosh, it's this villain, this is their background, this is what they do, this is what he does in the comics and all that, blah blah blah. And like they just try to fit in as much as like those little fun facts that you hear into it, and then try to make a good ending out of it, and with Shield though, they didn't have that. They, even with Ghost Rider in it, people weren't going like, oh man, Ghost Rider has these villains, maybe they can bring him in at the, like, that could be the big bad at the end of the season. It's like, no, they did it their own thing. They just used him for the beginning to set up the magic stuff so that it can lead to this and all that. It's like, for them, just ultimately they were able to build a structure to build up to something that like just you would not have anticipated. And I mean that was the advantage with Agents of Shield. I just wish again the CW shows would have done that. Like I think it would have been okay too to just set up a villain and then maybe build it up to some other villain or something. I don't know. It was just there's lots of things they could have done. At the end of the day, that network specifically likes to keeps its show running for as long as they can. They were ready for
Okay.
Supernatural to keep on going, but they were like, as soon as the actors don't want to do this anymore, that's what we'll end it. And yeah, the actors were just ready at that moment.
All right. There are a lot of notes for the episode. I'm just gonna find times when we're not talking to spread them out.
Hmm.
As far as this is called The Ghost. It is the 4th season, episode 1, and I'm gonna get into all that information. But let's just go ahead and press play on the episode as we go.
Previously on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, this season got a little bit of an upgrade in terms of like how the creatives behind were thinking. Well, we're much later on at night, 10 o'clock, so they found ways to make it more mature somewhere.
Hmm.
I mean, even that shot of Daisy right there, I guess there was like, hey, we can be a little bit more sexy, if you will, on we were just on an hour later. But I do like the fact that with the later time slot and with Ghost Rider, it doesn't waste any time being quite brutal in terms of like what happens here. And I feel like, look, to be fair to Shield in the previous 3 seasons, it had a fair bit. By the way, we just saw glimpses of so many things right there. The Watchdogs mask, which means she's chasing the Watchdogs. There's still a thing. She was taking a pill of some kind, which is going to come back into play in the later episodes. And it's just to give us a preview of like where Daisy's life has been like on the run right there. And then we get this. Obviously, you know as an audience member when you're watching this, okay, how are they going to introduce this character? When's he going to come in? And I love the fact that, look, the Shield guys, they know what you're here to see. They don't waste your time.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see right now what it's going to be. And the reactions that these guys have to him, it sells it completely. You know, it's in any other kind of show, incorporating characters like Ghost Rider could be kind of a challenge. So how do you organically weave a character like that into a show like this about like spies and now superheroes? But one of the things that should not ever be forgotten is how excellent the team is here at every single time bringing in new characters and making them feel like they're part of the fold. And here we are. Should we just go ahead and leave this uninterrupted and just experience this for what it is? Because shoot it now! I love how the show was treating it as like everything just stopped and everyone's
Mm-hmm.
oh. David, that looked amazing.
Yeah, good.
That looked really good. Like the whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just stopped, and out of nowhere, this freak of nature just came in and just upended everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what you'd want this to feel like. And the sound of the spine being ripped apart from the flesh and the blood spilling. You don't see it, but I think it's enough to just like hear the sound. Ooh, and that was a lot of blood. Hey, I'll watch Daredevil try and do that these days. Even that glimpse from a distance. I think it's actually really, really cool that we're getting Daisy right off the bat and getting her like eyes on this,
Mm-hmm.
and her having like she's just speechless. She has no idea what to even say there. Anyway, so and we have a new intro. right here.
Yeah.
To the 4th season. This is obviously episode 1 of season 4. This is called The Ghost, written by Jed Whedon and Marissa Chancharoen. They wrote the episode. Directed by Billy Gearhart. Originally aired September 20th, 2016.
Yeah, that's one way to go.
Premiered
Want a beer?
10 p.m., which allowed it to be darker and more mature than previous seasons. The episode was watched by 6.24 million viewers within a week and received mostly positive reviews due to the new status quo in the introduction of Ghost Rider. The opening scene received criticism for sexualizing Chloe Bennett. Yeah, I remember people were like not crazy about that. Of course, our returning cast, Clark Gregg, which you see right here, Ming-Na Wen, Chloe Bennett, Ian DeCasticker, Elizabeth Henstridge, Henry Simmons, and John Hannah. And of course, Gabriel Luna as Robbie Reyes, Natalia Cordova Buckley, Elena Yo-Yo Rodriguez, Lorenzo James Henry as Gabe Reyes, Mallory Jansen as Ada, and Lily Birdsell as Lucy. Already off the bat, we're getting a new dynamic in place. I gotta tell you, David, there were 2 things that frustrated me about the season 3 finale. I wasn't crazy about Daisy being on the run, and I sure as hell wasn't crazy about Coulson not being director.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, how are you gonna actually make this work for me in the 4th season? And I gotta tell you, I think I just had to get over it off the bat, but I do think that they do a pretty well enough job off the bat of getting you invested in like this whole new dynamic, because it wasn't just Daisy and Coulson. The whole team, and you realize in this episode, has been split up, leading different departments, and it's a whole new show, really, than what it used to be.
Mistake was he tapped out.
I believe this is Piper's 2nd appearance on the show, and she made quite an impression that she will be in the series from, I think, now until the very end here.
Yep.
But nice, always a nice shot when the Zephyr is landing or taking off.
2 civilians were violently killed.
The mysterious burns, heads bashed in, spine pulled out of his.
Seeing a lot more people here than usual, I would think. A lot more personnel.
To kill.
If she's responsible for these bodies.
That's not Daisy's MO.
The world knows her as Quake. And Quake is an outlaw who takes down banks and bridges.
Oh, come on. We both
she's
know she's
hunting
tracking these
violent
fanatics.
So right off the bat, we're just like, it's a whole new shield, and our people who've been in charge the whole time, off the bat, are you get the feeling, right? They've been pushed to the side. They're no longer in charge. So the fact that May has to do this whole elaborate, like, hey guys, I need you to come back, but I'm not going to tell you because I can't tell you until we're in person. He's like, I put this on the intercom, then they're going to send in lethal forces to execute Daisy. And that, again, suggests Coulson, Mac, and May. By the way, the previous top 3 agents, no say whatsoever in what happens in the agency. And as you say, David, all the time, who writes this stuff? Because the way that they presented that scene, huge info dumps, right? And yet I was like, in it, every single beat, I caught it, and I was like, oh shit, they made me feel the urgency of what was going on there.
And a soul can never heal.
Also, not great timing for Daisy. That's just one more body. I mean, it's just like, they're going to assume you killed them. It's like, I mean... And then there's this.
Hello? I hear my voice echo, but it sounds strange in my head. The detail is amazing. A meadow or a cottage somewhere.
That cottage comes back. Series finale. That's where they end up, in a cottage.
Direct current
Just by the way, so don't... Nothing ever gets wasted here or gets thrown away completely.
I like how the quality looked different in the virtual world in this.
Yeah, he calls it the framework. But all the transcranial apparatus, that's all me.
No, of course you're
You
brilliant.
know what's funny is, like, when the framework stuff was happening, I completely forgot that they had set it up here already in the first episode.
Hey, authorized personnel only, pal. No pass, no entry.
Who the hell are you?
Leave them.
And what every Shield fan was thinking to themselves right now in that moment.
Yeah.
Special advisor to the director in science and technology.
Or sadist.
Sadist. That's an amazing acronym.
Hey, you should join us because we're going to go to Radcliffe's and watch the Aberdeen Inverness Cali Thistle League Cup final. Those are football teams.
Not sure they are, Turbo.
Were Mack and Coulson thinking American football, and was Leopold thinking like soccer football? Is that what the confusion was there? Did you catch those names? I don't know what he was talking about.
I didn't even know he was saying names. I was just kind of like, I thought he was just talking a different language, honestly, for a second. And I think they were just so confused, like, those are names.
Yeah.
Sadly,
Yeah, you can't make the match either.
I have to finish my reports.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's okay. Just shame hardly get to see each other. Any of us.
Yes, well, at least it's better than the friends we'll never see again.
Fitz and Simmons should really take the time to just appreciate this piece, because once the LMDs start, do they ever get a break until the end of the show?
I don't think so.
I don't think they do. Because then comes the framework, the future, Fitz dying, Gemma finding him in space, then the Chronicom invasion, then traveling through time. Like it's like this is the last few episodes where like it'll be the closest to normal as they possibly could be for them. All right, let's see here. Don't mind me as I read through this, but all right. Here's some notes on the writing. On how much more mature the episode is from previous episodes, given the later time, Whedon explained that ABC haven't really ever given us a note on violence. We've cut people into pieces and hacked them up and shot people point blank in the head. Never got any notes on that. So pushing the envelope for us will be in the sexual nature. This is evidenced in the opening of the episode, a sexy look at the character Quake getting dressed. Executive producer Jeff Loeb added, what it does give us is a chance to tell different stories. The idea is some of the material might be more mature. There may be more grit. What we're doing might be darker. It certainly made a lot more sense when we wanted to introduce a character like Ghost Rider into the world. Discussing Quake's mindset, Chloe Bennett said she's not doing well. She's had a rough couple of years. She's taking some time, and I think it's kind of her way of protecting the people that she cares about. Everyone she's gotten close to, something bad has happened to them. It's her weird, selfish way of protecting them. This, the character's assertion in the episode that she deserves to die. Concerning the character Fitz keeping the android Ada a secret from Simmons, actor Ian DeCasticker said, they're trying to maintain a healthy relationship while being secret undercover spies that have secret assignments. It's with the best intentions keeping stuff from her, I suppose. It's going to get interesting. Lying is a strong word. I'm just keeping stuff from her. And here we have, I believe, Yo-Yo.
Mark.
Yo-Yo.
Who...
What's up?
It's just incredible to me, like, what, she was in maybe 5 episodes before this, and even in season 4, she is used, but she's not in every episode. They don't give her the title series regular until the 5th season, where she like is like a proper main character. I will say that even though she's not in every episode this season, I'm sorry, at this point she is a main character. She is part of the group. Like she's not. I know that she kind of gets a little bit like left behind in the framework, and she doesn't really come in until the end of the arc. But still, as we were saying from the last few episodes, this, what you're seeing right now before you, how would you not want more of that? By the way, she just has a great voice, that actor, Natalia.
Yeah.
She really has a great voice. Do you think they used Yo-Yo the best they could have with this season, or do you wish she would have been in it more than she is with this season, David?
I mean, this season, yeah, I think they used her as well as they could, because you don't. I mean, they definitely don't want to rely on her, especially with her powers.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she could do so much more in these missions than like anyone else could, even more than Daisy because of her speed. Like, it's so useful. And so the little bit that they used her on, I think it was well utilized, especially with the final season. Once she was able to not go back, basically, like they really had to try to nerf her, like try to be like, okay, we're gonna do this plot line. Where the heck are we gonna put Yo-Yo? Like I'm sure that's always a big concern.
That's true. Also, as per usual, Shield has like a large number of cast members.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make room for Radcliffe being here all the time, Ada, Robbie Reyes, and then that doesn't even include Jeffrey Mace and other characters who are going to be consistent throughout the whole show. And here is, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mallory Jansen, who we would not be able to know from the moment Fitz sees her naked body, but like in a very funny way. Fitz is being so obviously like a gentleman about that, but the glimpse he got there at the bottom. You're looking at what is perhaps the signature villain of the show. It's insane. But when they introduce an LMD like this, in the back of your mind, you had to have been thinking, okay, how is this going to go so wrong? I'm sure you were thinking that too, right? Like, this is just not
AI, and it's always the biggest thing. But I love the way they build up to it and all that, because you really do think like, okay, it's not that I thought like, oh, maybe she's not going to be a bad guy or anything like that. I just kind of thought, oh, maybe she's going to become a bad guy in a different way or something. But like, no, it's
amazing how like you can kind of get an idea of what they're going to do, but they keep you guessing.
Yeah.
They keep you guessing along the way, where like it doesn't get old or stale at all, ever.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a lifelong dream of mine, Fizz. When I saw the work you and Simmons were doing in replicating human tissue and internal bone structure...
It's also important to remember, like, Radcliffe here isn't being, like, insidious. That doesn't start until they throw the damn Darkhold in his face.
Mm-hmm.
But here, as we come to find out later on, this has been kind of his ongoing work. Like, he has always tried to prevent death or cure death. And little did we know, but like Ada is created in the image of his former partner who is dying of a brain tumor at the moment, which we will find out later on in the season.
Right, she laughs at the jokes I've programmed her to recognize, but...
Agnes, I want to say.
Past the Turing test at the moment.
Which eventually ends up getting executed by the man you see in between Radcliffe and Ada right now.
Full disclosure at this time is the best course of action. I agree. At least let me show you how it works.
One of the things that you see different here is, oh, Fitz is hanging out with Radcliffe now. That's new. And, I mean, they're both Scotsmen, so there's that. I guess you want to say that shared bond, if you will. But unfortunately, it does come back into play in the season later on. But, like, it's probably good for Fitz to have a friend like that. And I guess you would hope that with Fitz being in Radcliffe's life that he may be a little bit more on the up and up. And I think he tries to be, but it kind of all goes wrong the minute they bring a magical book into the situation. But it was nice to see how they have a new dynamic there. And also this right here, that Daisy and Yo-Yo apparently have been getting to know each other a little bit more as well, since Yo-Yo is helping Daisy. Well, not helping with, I guess, her schemes or her missions, but just like getting supplies from the Shield base. Because, and this is something that I don't believe, I don't know if it's a retcon. And if it is a retcon, it's actually pretty good as far as what this is. But in this episode, they introduce that Daisy has to basically, for the rest of her life, keep taking the pills that she's taking because of when she first powered up as an Inhuman back in season 2. I think it was the time where
Everyone gets attached to something eventually.
Cal got snatched away by Gordon. She like had so many fractures on her arms, and so they developed this medicine for her to be constantly taking, that way that it would heal and not, be in the way. I don't believe they've ever said that out loud until just this episode, so I'm gonna say it's a retcon, even though they do a pretty good job of like, okay, well, technically blah 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 at the time, even though you didn't see it and we didn't say it out loud, we made this medicine for your bones. not the. I mean, maybe it's too small to be considered a retcon, but I mean, either way, it works for the purposes of what we're seeing here. So
Why do I, level red, have to go through you, level orange, to request hardware? Shouldn't red be higher than orange?
Well, orange encompasses both red and yellow, so.
yeah, same May. Didn't get that at all.
You think it might be Daisy?
I'm going to look into it. I just wondered if you'd heard anything from your law enforcement contacts.
I'm mostly in the dark these days. Why don't you ask the director? Since you're one of the few people allowed or willing to do that.
Did you feel that? that tension right there?
It's really messed up, honestly. Especially with like all of them. It's like you gotta know, you know, her Simmons' intentions to like trying to move upward good, you know? Like it really was seeming everyone thinks she's trying to push them away or something.
Do you know where I can find him?
Nobody
does.
Everybody that sees his face ends up on this wall.
I think it's just weird for May in that, like, and I think May alluded to it right there. It's like, hey, you used to report to me. Now I have to report to you. It's a whole different power dynamic. And yeah.
Have at it. Thank you.
So some more notes here. By the way, that's a cool shot.
Yeah.
Of the hand being able to do that. The effect of Ghost Rider and his flaming skull was imitated on set by Luna wearing a hood fitted with flickering lights that could be adjusted to match different temperature fire for different situations. The skull was then produced using CGI, with Luna wearing tracking markers on his face to provide performance reference for these sequences. Flames were also produced digitally. The series employed 16 Houdini artists to work on the Ghost Rider effects, up from the usual 2 or 3 used on the series to that point previously.
Everyone says that.
Not everybody was a fan of the Ghost Rider effect, which we've not seen just yet in full glory. But Mark Buxton of Den of Geek said it was way too CGI cartoony and negatively compared it to Grimm.
Wreck movie cars, they're dumped at Amani Junk and Salvage.
Okay. He also criticized the opening shots of Johnson, calling them misogynistic and saying, seriously, Marvel, you're better than that. Basically, just the shot of her pulling the underwear up.
Oh, okay. I was like, what was... I was so confused for a second. I'm like, what happened that was misogynistic? I don't know about misogynistic, but I can see why. I can see people maybe complaining about it, like kind of finding it unnecessary. I can get that. But
that's, misogynistic is not,
Yeah, I don't think that's the right word I would use.
Apparently, you and I were recently called misogynists. Did you know that? On TikTok.
Oh, yeah. I think I read that.
It made no sense, but okay.
I don't trust the new director, but he trusts me. So now, in order to keep that trust, I must take the appropriate action to address this break in protocol.
Did they give Gemma, like, high heels? Because there's definitely something, like, to positioning her being taller than me, even more than she would be. But I think they probably did to help with the whole, like, oh, she's in a higher authority of power now than May is.
Yeah, but then also like how we mentioned with Fitz last season, where we're just like, does Fitz look different this season? Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, he just seems more commanding. It's like now it's happening with Gemma, and it's actually interesting that in this moment she's really talking down to oh my gosh, why did I forget her name?
To divulge. I don't know these new people.
Oh my god, I forgot her name. I'm so bad with names. With May, like, May is always the level-headed one, always the one pretty much talking down to everyone else. But in this moment, kind of interesting that they switched up with those two in that moment.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like, I think it made sense, and it really worked for Gemma, or at least the actress. Like, she really did seem intimidating, more intimidating than May.
Dr. Radcliffe time and again has expressed his deep regret for causing pain, when all he ever wanted was to prevent it. He speaks often of the pain that you and Agent Simmons have had to suffer.
One of the things that's also not appreciated, I think, enough about this season, because it's broadcast TV, but I think off of the top of my head, this is one of maybe the best season as far as like the use of lighting and the variety of sets. Because not that the lighting was bad in the other seasons or in the future seasons, but with they're very limited, I believe, in the next season with like where they shoot. So a lot of it's just dark. But I don't know if there's a different palette with season 4, but it's not like it's drastically different. I don't want to put that impression in your head. But there is something about it that just looks a little bit more, I don't know, cinematic. Really interesting shots.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look, not that it ever looked bad, mind you, but
Don't we want to move forward? Her approval is...
It's too dangerous to show the new director. We don't know what he'd do with it. And she would have to tell him, so... She can't know.
Also just love the general like aspect ratio of it. I know it's just a generic broadcast TV, but if it was Marvel Studios and this was Disney Plus, it would have like just the same standard boring widescreen. And I'm like, it's not needed for everything.
Mm.
Okay, let's see what else I can find here.
Where are the other 2 men?
We had to leave them at the pickup site.
Explain.
Also, I think this is the first time the show is getting into
And tore into each other. There's blood everywhere. We put 2 bullets in each of them.
or involving itself with the mob elements, if you will, all the different mobs. Because they definitely play a part with Robbie Reyes' origin story.
We get on comms and call the Zephyr for backup. Headquarters will know we're on Daisy's trail.
No orders to pull out. She's been tracking this sale. She could show up here any minute.
I don't know.
I think she was supposed to be there, but I think she found a more interesting target.
Yeah. I also love his jacket. I don't know. It's
Yes.
so simple, nothing too show offy, but it works.
So this gets really spooky pretty quickly as far as like what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we know yet. It would take a couple of episodes to get there actually before we find out like what this even is.
So, you've got the devil inside you too.
Also, didn't get it. I don't think when we were watching this, we would get like an automatically like a Ghost Rider battle, if you will. It's like, oh, we're already here.
Yeah.
Great. Just another example of how these guys don't waste your time and they know what you want to see and they deliver. Imagine if more shows would have that mentality, right? Because there are so many shows today where like, hey, guys, I know, just wait till the very end. Wait till the very end. You're going to get what you want to see. S.H.I.E.L.D. never made you feel like they were like, you had to wait for something. They always just gave it to you.
And
meanwhile, they would work at giving you things that you wouldn't expect that you wanted, but you actually did. Go ahead, David.
I mean, to kind of compare with like some of the other Marvel, even Star Wars shows, like they just know how to pace it well, really. Because like I remember when we watched Ahsoka, and it was the moment where Ahsoka meets Anakin, and what was it, World Between Worlds and all that.
Yeah,
and like as soon as it
which,
started,
by the way, years later, I don't even know what the fuck that was, what all that meant.
No, yeah,
yeah.
But like as soon as they started fighting, like I just started screaming, like, "Why are we fighting? Like these aren't the characters that you want to do that with."
We know why they're fighting right here. Why Robbie and Daisy are fighting. We know that pretty clearly off the bat. We can suspect very clearly, and they're even telling you.
You don't get to decide who deserves to die.
I'm not the one who decides.
I love that.
No, yeah, that's so good. But then, like again, though, this is awesome timing because it's not just a fight. Like they're fighting and having a conversation. Again, with Ahsoka and Anakin, what the fuck was even that conversation? It's like you're gonna decide if you want to live or die.
What
or something.
Conversation?
There wasn't much of a conversation.
In Morse code.
But like, and that's the thing though too.
We couldn't figure it out.
It's like they would fight, but then stop completely. And this one though. Like again, it just knows how to
then
pace
this part
it
right
well.
here. Go ahead, I deserve it. And then the writer like kind of like he takes a step back in disgust. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You're not guilty. Get away from me. I'm only here to kill, guilty people, or like, I guess evil people, if you will. But like, if someone like Daisy is like, yeah, I deserve it, then he's like, okay, well, the writer's a pretty good judge of character.
Yeah.
So the writer sees in Daisy, which she pretty much takes the whole season for her to see in herself, like who she really is. So
No,
go ahead, David.
And like, that's the thing though. It's like this fight isn't just a fight. I can honestly say it's like not even a fight. It's
barely a fight.
Yeah, it's barely a fight, and that's a good thing because we were getting a lot of information. She's trying to figure out like
we were
who the
getting
heck...
story.
Yeah,
yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, who are you? Why are you killing these people? It's like these people are bad. And it's like, oh, really? A teacher? It's like that dude was a pedophile, and just like you're already getting his reasoning.
On the same time, it's like, why are you on the run, Daisy? No one asks that, but then when she's like, I deserve it. Oh, she's in that low of a place.
And obviously, because we know somewhat of the Ghost Rider character, we know he is someone who judges.
That's a great
bad people.
Shot. Right
yeah,
there. Going from the skull to the man.
Yeah, transition.
Yeah, transition.
It's already building up, a relationship between these two characters and how it's gonna affect her in the future. And so, I don't know. There's just more to it. They know how to utilize their time, basically. And to go back with Ahsoka and Anakin, there was no build up to whatever conversation they had to be. They were going to talk about. There was no. The fight did not need to happen between Ahsoka and Anakin. It just needed to be a straight up conversation. I would have been happy to just have them sit down and talk about what the heck he did afterwards.
I would have been happy if they sat down and talked once.
Yeah.
In a show called Ahsoka. 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen.
In the 11th grade.
Anyway. Love that she has her hula girl. Love that I want to say this is the same van she had in the first season, or maybe it's a van that's like, maybe it's a new van.
I'm sure it's a new.
Either way, it's supposed to pay homage to like her original van where we first met her, as well as that hula girl. The hula girl who she took from the van and put it on the bus, and then took it back before the bus blew up. And I don't know where she had it. I'm not even sure if it's been seen since she took it before the bus blew up. But anyway, just wanted to put that out there.
Take advantage of the downtime. Who knows what tomorrow holds?
You have no idea, Phil. You have no idea what's about to befall you. Anyway, here's some instant reactions from people who saw it 10 years ago on Reddit. That transformation scene was sick. The transformation, the fire effects, the glowing eyes, the flaming car. The only holdup I have is the skull looks a tad plasticky, I guess, but that fire though. Well, if there's one thing I'm looking forward to, is the exploding pen that Mac wants. Let's see here. Talk about coming full circle. Daisy starts out in a van and goes through all of these changes only to end up in a van. Shield and their episode titles, man. Well, obviously, if they're talking about Ghost Rider, it could also refer to how Daisy is hiding from Shield. And then there's an actual fucking ghost.
Yeah.
That's an interesting play on the title. I didn't consider all that, but I guess that is obviously there. And all that. I'm still holding out for Coulson Laserfingers this season. We were robbed last season. Loved Ghost Rider taking a minute to look at Daisy. Do it. Well, sure, let me just check to make sure. No, not there. How do you even blame yourself for that? Nope, that was your mother's fault. Sorry, you don't even meet my vengeance requirements. Let's see here. Ming-Na is 50 and still looks fantastic. Well, now she's 60, over 60, and she looks even more fantastic. Extremely exciting start to the season, but there's a lot of plot lines at the moment, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all. But that's every first episode of every season, guy. That's every. Oh, come on. There's going to be a lot of setup. That's just how you begin a season of TV. What? Actually really impressed with Ghost Rider. Was expecting to be let down, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Let's see here. Bullet point time. There is something awesome about Robbie's mannerisms. I couldn't look at that. Couldn't look that cool doing anything. Mac's face when he calls for backup as May arrives, perfect. Looked like he genuinely believed he might be magic for a moment there. Ada looks so sad when she's powered down. Also, Ada's hella creepy. I wasn't expecting Ghost Rider to translate so well, but the car and his transformation totally sold me. The spectrum of security. All right. So far for next week, May's infected. Daisy and Robbie are gonna talk a bunch. New director? So awesome. That blood splatter and oh my god, this comment. That blood splatter and Pantyland in the opening. 10 p.m. baby. Okay.
That's funny. That's good.
Let's see here. All right. That was the initial reactions from Reddit. Let's go ahead and let me go over. Do you have Ami already on your screen, David?
Damn it. No answers just yet. Still only speculation. I didn't expect us to full on get that much Ghost Rider or any Ghost Rider at all in the first episode. That was wild. I don't know, man. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting to see him, at least in action. You know, when we got that little taste at the beginning with him behind the flames, Sephiroth style, I thought maybe that was going to be it. But we got a decent amount of it. Also setup of the character, a little bit of an insight, you know, what he does for work, what he does during the day, what he does when he takes these people back to his own place. A little bit of a glimpse into his home life, as well as information on who he targets, which if you're familiar with the Rider as a character in general, you know that while extreme in his efforts, the people he punishes, if they are hurt by his flame, they kind of deserve it. It's not like he's making the call. This is an entity that literally peers into your soul, everything you've done, thought, felt, whatever, and can determine what's true about you in the end. His powers don't work on those that don't, you know, have anything really to worry about. Like if the pure of heart or people truly innocent, like at least with his penance stare, it won't do anything. Weaponizes your sin against you, really is what it does. Obviously, the fire aspect can physically hurt you. He can physically hurt you. But when it comes to like the effects on your soul that he has, I'm pretty sure that if you're okay, you're probably going to be okay. Which I think, again, as much as Daisy is still riding off the guilt that she's felt from everything before, I like that they at least carried that over because we can kind of live with that a little bit longer than we did. That is still something that's driving her as well. You know, she's seeking out Watchtower. She's doing her own thing. She's not under S.H.I.E.L.D.'s thumb. She's going off the books. She's hunting down these hate groups, trying to unravel them, cutting off their funding. That's what we learned. The bridge was a transport. You know, she was trying to head off the sale of this weapon, or what was it? It was the sale of this weapon, or that's the latest thing. Either way, she was trying to impede Watchdog movement by doing that. The bank was specifically because she was trying to disrupt their finances to kind of cripple them that way. All of it is to that end. So she's gone full on vigilante, which is kind of fun to see. Especially, I presume, after everything that happened. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe because of everything that happened and whoever this new director is, with the S.H.I.E.L.D. being formally pulled back into the government and having that oversight like that, you know, probably doesn't jive with her or people like her right now. So like, I find that really interesting. And Yo-Yo at least is playing like as a mediator between the sides, you know, helping her and helping them in one way, shape, or form. I like that. They're keeping their connections open. You know, she's out doing her own thing at this point, trying to do what she can, I presume, with what she's what she's been given, trying to make up for what's happened to her people and everything that happened in the previous season that she feels responsible for, and just trying to do what she can to help without any of that baggage that comes with that. You know, obviously the team is after her because they care about her, but that's just, it's just their perspectives right now are not in sync. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen and how long that's going to last. I don't know, what was in that box? What was she tracking? She thought it was a weapon. We saw this like spectral form leave this box, and all the people around it got possessed. And then we see this figure that was kind of looming in the shadows walk past May. It may even be in May right now, for all we know. We don't know that it directly needs to possess, because it hit all of those people all at once. I also find it really interesting, coming off the heels of an episode, or a season rather, about Hive and him being the origin of the devil. You know, all of those myths and legends about hell were about all of this, when, at least if you knew where this was going to go, a lot of that kind of proves to be false. Because if we're introducing Ghost Rider, you're introducing Mephisto. I mean, maybe they won't by name, but that's where the writer's powers come from. And he is the devil. I just found that really weird. But then again, that is all based on the knowledge that they have at that point. They haven't really tapped into these corners of the world. As Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. grows on and the MCU starts to expand, they start entering these other pockets that were previously unexplored to them. So that was probably just the history as they knew it, the information as they knew it, and just not the reality. I could be completely wrong, because I don't know what the licensing structure was around when this season actually came out. And like I kind of touched on a little bit during the reaction, I've seen things like this where they wanted to incorporate a character, but their world didn't have the rights to certain things. So they brought the character in as aesthetically close to what they're supposed to be as possible, but they may have shifted the origins around to make it fit what they're allowed to play with. Like, for example, you know, this isn't like the case, like this is just an example. It's like if let's say the MCU didn't have the rights to mutants yet, so they couldn't introduce Wolverine and be like, hey, he's a mutant. So they might make them instead an Inhuman so that they can explain their powers and fit it into what we're familiar with in the show. Again, it could be all based within his faith here, that's what he believes. If they're sticking to the comic stuff, that we're dipping into the supernatural. So that's a spirit, not a parasite, I would presume, and he is the rider for the devil. So we'll see. We got to see. We got to figure it out. I'm just trying to kind of manage expectations with what I know versus what the show has told us so far, which isn't all that much. So we'll just have to wait and find out. And we got to see how the team is kind of dealing with this whole thing. What do you do when you have a group that goes rogue like this, that is this tight-knit like this? If you want to keep a handle on them, you gotta keep them separated. And even still through all that separation, they are still trying to do what they always do. Stand by their own, do what they feel is right. Unfortunately though, because of that fracturing, like they still are having these moments where they're not comfortable with the way things are, the way the new director is implementing all these checkpoints and all this kind of stuff, because it just slows down their ability to do what they do. It just really kind of defangs them a little bit, their ability to respond to these actions with all the red tape. It was why, you know, when they worked with Talbot before, they tried to circumvent a lot of that. And maybe Talbot even got in trouble with that, because at this point, like, I'm starting to think it's not Talbot at all. So I don't know if it's someone we've seen before, a new face. Because like I said, there were some things that seemed like that might be something Talbot would say. And also kind of ironic given the fact that he chastised them over these naming schemes before. But then there was other things that just didn't feel like something he would do at all. In the end, like, a lot of times we have these like series resets, season resets rather. We have to reset the team as well and put them in a different spot. And a lot of times, and kind of similar to how season 2 kicked off and how season 3 started, everybody's kind of managing their own thing. They're all kind of separated. It's almost a little bit of a pattern. So we kind of addressed it though real quickly in this. Like, we do have a shakeup of the status quo. Things are a little bit different because of Coulson's actions. He's now just an agent. So that's an interesting shakeup to the dynamic, but all of the relationships are mostly intact, save for the fact that they are separated from each other and have to work in these underhanded, behind the scenes kind of ways to kind of keep on doing what they're doing. And especially with the way that Daisy's being treated by the government versus how they are treating her, especially with the fallout of the Sokovia Accords and everything with Ultron. But we do have this moment here where May, who's getting frustrated with all of this, and how Simmons is kind of the only person that has the director's ear at this point. You know, she's the mediator between them and everybody else, all these other departments. She's the only person that the director's open to listening to at this point. So there's almost this kind of like animosity that comes with that, where it feels like she's kind of betrayed them because she is feeding into and schmoozing up to the person that has fragmented them. But that's completely misunderstood. And I'm glad we got that out of the way, and that this wasn't going to be something that was going to cascade into subsequent episodes, or at least it might come back up once or twice or whatever. I mean, that's the reason Fitz isn't telling her about what's going on here with John Hannah, with Radcliffe, you know, because she's required to report that information because she goes through lie detector tests on a daily. So that's also fucked as all hell. I get it's a security measure. I get that this agency has fallen many times. It just sucks having your integrity really put to the test like that. But I get it. It just sucks that our people have to kind of go through all of that. And now it's also having him have to keep a secret from her, because he's just like, hey, if we tell her, if we let her in on this, she's going to have to do it, or she's going to get caught and fired, and if she can't pass that test. And the only reason, as we learned, that she's even like putting all this effort into kind of playing by the rules, being the pristine agent and getting close to the director, is so that somebody in the original unit has any level of control over what's happening. She doesn't like it. She hates it.
I do gotta ask you, David. We now have 4 season premieres. Which do you think did the best job? Or, well, I should say I think they all do a great job of setting up the season. But I guess is there a preferred episode of the first premieres of the first 4 seasons?
I mean, my first thought was season 2.
Mine would be 2.
And that's only because it's a massive change between first season characters, first episode characters to first episode to second season characters. So, and then I'm trying to remember what happened in the third one, though. That's the thing. I need like a picture of it. 1 second.
Well, it's the first time we see Daisy with short hair. And Joey Gutierrez transforms, and he's there. They start off with the whole rescue from the ATCU.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. They rescue him. Daisy and Mac are like
the Rock.
Yeah, they're working together. No, I think I would say second season. Like I said,
I would go with that one too. Yeah. Okay, here are some reactions. IGN, written by Terry Schwartz, not Eric Goldman this time. Okay. Let's see here. Shield is leading hard on Ghost Rider joining the 4th season. Let's see here. The difference made by shifting Shield back to 10 p.m. came across most notably through the Ghost Rider story arc. There's a whole lot more blood this season, in a general darker tone aesthetic. Okay, the darker tone works best when it means the series is free of its formerly cheery demeanor. A lot has changed after the time jump that ended season 3, and not all of it for the better. Fitz is now keeping lies from Simmons. The team is split up, and Coulson no longer director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Then there's Daisy, who is determined to not lose another person close to her, that she is still evading Coulson's attempts to bring her in. It would have been easy to have Coulson and Mac find Daisy in the premiere and try to bring her back into S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's much more interesting to have her on Robbie's tail. Though viewers have seen her try hard over the past few years to find her place within S.H.I.E.L.D., it's much truer for Daisy's personality to break off as a loner. Having her pull deeper into the vigilante world through Ghost Rider's vengeful quest feels more true of her journey. Back at home base, there's a lot going on. Let's see here. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. trimmed down its cast a lot in the last year, so Season 4's premiere doesn't feel as overstuffed as it would have last year with Yo-Yo, Radcliffe, and this new life model decoy Ada, and Robbie Reyes balancing out the ensemble. But there still is a lot going on with a limited amount of episode real estate. Let's see. She calls it 8 out of 10. Great. All right. Here is Alex McLevy for the AV Club. The name of the premiere is called The Ghost. It isn't a reference to the series' new antagonist at all, despite all the hype given over to the introducing of the fiery vengeance seeker revealed in the opening sequence. No, it's something much more personal. It's a reference to Daisy Johnson, now known as Quake, who has become the unseen specter haunting her former teammates. She's abandoned her makeshift family, and that loss resonates with all of them, standing in symbolically for the larger loss of identity they all suffered when the team was broken up. Max says it out loud tonight. She's a ghost. He meant it in the practical sense, given their failure to locate her, but it's taken on a more significant meaning for everyone. She's the living embodiment of the disillusion of our SHIELD team, and it's not only killing her, it's making her want to die. The return of the ABC show is a standard first episode back, in that it once again does a lot of table setting, and not always in the most compelling manner. SHIELD is at its best when it's executing thrilling heroics and tossing witty banter among its leads, not when it has to bend over backwards delivering lengthy expository setup. This season especially, the weight of the narrative lag is noticeable. But as always, the show manages to work in some fantastic action among the morose complaints about the new boss and his heavy-handed leadership style. So those tuning in for the first time, let's move on. Captain America Civil War changed the stakes, and the Inhumans are now either outlaws or registered neutrals, unable to work with the team. Yo-Yo pops up briefly in this week to acknowledge the difficult situation and bemoan the new state of affairs, a topic on which everyone is in total agreement. SHIELD is back above board thanks to the Sokovia Accords, but it means no more demonstrations of power from those who want to stay in the good graces of the international community. Additionally, the new director broke up our team, scattering them among different sections and security levels, all in the name of dismantling the covert power base Coulson and company had developed. It was a power play, pure and simple, as Gemma Simmons tells May, and the idea that an above-board and public agency would allow such a group to continue as they had been was laughable. It's why Simmons has fought so hard to get a position of power and try to exert some control over the agency they used to run. But the problems go far beyond the new official positions to which our protagonists find themselves relegated. Sure, Coulson is just another agent now. Max addressing him as Sir is met with a terse, "Stop calling me that." But the bigger problem is the lack of trust running through his relationships with his former employees. Simmons can't be told anything for the simple fact that she's subjected to a daily lie detector. May is chafing under her new, reduced role as trainer and mission leader. Fitz is hobbled by the painful acknowledgement that he can't tell his girlfriend about the astonishing new invention of Dr. Radcliffe. And Mac, well, he doesn't even have his shotgun axe anymore. It's enough to drive a person to demand an exploding pen. But the show is so excited about its latest character, it can only shuffle among the downbeat team we know and love for so long. No, it wants to get to Ghost Rider. And get to him we do in the very first minutes of the pre-title sequence. Fans of the comic already know all this, but it's covered efficiently, if more ambiguously so far. Robbie works at a car junkyard, but he's possessed by some sort of spirit that judges whether the living are worthy of continuing to breathe or not. And woe be those the spirit finds wanting. The reveal that Robbie isn't the flaming skull being, but rather the vessel for its vengeance was a fun one for those who didn't know the story. Me. I had no idea of this when I watched this, obviously. Daisy's realization that Robbie is in some ways a pawn makes for a compelling nemesis and demonstrates why the iconic Marvel character is such a popular one. More importantly, Ghost Rider gives us a chance to see just how badly Daisy is hurting. We don't know yet the reasons for her withdrawal from S.H.I.E.L.D., though it's pretty clear the Sokovia Accords are only one part of it. She's hurting badly, which is why when Ghost Rider approaches her as she's using her powers to prevent some metal shelving from falling on her, she suddenly begs for death. "Do it. I deserve it," she pleads, and the full extent of her pain is revealed. Daisy, I'm guessing, blames herself for Lincoln's death somehow, and that hurt has forced her back underground. Last season's finale let us know she's still doing good, but she's also exposed now. The world knows her as a superpowered bank robber, not the self-sacrificing fighter we've seen her to be. She thinks she deserves a terrible fate, and as a result, she's chosen a life that will set her on a collision course with that outcome. Everything in this debut installment of the latest season was geared toward establishing the new status quo. Also, we can enjoy the ride as it almost assuredly gets ripped into the shreds in the coming weeks. No one's happy, and that discontent is going to end up churning up this new situation in fun ways, I've no doubt. We've got some great Daisy's action sequences, a few witty tit-to-tas with beloved characters, and a whole lot of this is going to be important later on, so just flag it right now moments. It's unclear how Ghost Rider will factor into all of this, but the bigger bad guy right now is something much more mundane. Oops. Max, well, I wanted to just pull back real quick on what he was saying there. David, in the last 10 years in our conversations here on Red Spotlight, we've done a lot of whining and moaning and bitching about a lot of the forced, I should say unforced errors that executives get themselves into as far as the properties that they're in charge of. And we've seen more than our fair share of projects, whether it be film or TV, where characters are inserted by jamming them in there somewhere. Ideas are forced upon them. And I think what helps is, in this situation with Ghost Rider, at the time, I don't know if it was all that clear. And to be sure, I'm not sure if we can ever be clear. But it seems this was an organic inclusion, in that the team at S.H.I.E.L.D. were looking for ways to, hey, we're still part of the MCU. We see that Doctor Strange is getting a little bit more mystical, less sciencey. Why don't we go in that direction too? And then they were like, hey, are you going to use Ghost Rider? Okay, I buy that. But usually what would happen is, okay, executive sees S.H.I.E.L.D.'s ratings fall. We got to introduce a comic book character in there to get the people back to watch the show. So here's this character. Figure it out. Even if that was the case, these people always find a way to make it feel like it's not an intrusion, like it's actually a welcome presence. And they do this all the time because they always keep their eye on the ball. Daisy, one of, if not the main character of this show, has to be tied in directly with this character for any of this to fit, for any of this to make sense. I love how when they bring characters in, it's not only about, isn't it cool that they're here? Don't you love this character? It's more like, yeah, he's here. He's every bit as cool as you think he is, but he is going to serve a singular purpose, not just to get eyeballs back on our show, but his presence is going to change the show forever. And it's going to be tied directly in to the story we want to continue telling with the characters we've already established. And that is clearly a feat because we've seen far too many examples of this happening and it just not gelling at all. David.
No, yeah, I didn't think about it like that. But for sure, it is. For one thing, yeah, I do actually remember seeing comments like that of they wished, the other S.H.I.E.L.D. characters weren't in this Ghost Rider show in a sense and all that, and it was pretty annoying. But
yep, it was.
But you're right. Like the way they utilized them was absolutely great, and it really didn't even like cross my mind. Like, oh yeah, they are like connected, connecting these two, with what Daisy's going through mentally and all that.
Because that's storytelling, right?
Yeah, that's
what storytelling is. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, hey guys, things are happening, and it's reference here, and that thing there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and oh dang it, I just lost my train of thought. But no, yeah, I was trying to think of like what what if it was any other character? Like I can't really think of. I don't really know a lot of like minor Marvel characters, so it's kind of hard to say. But like, um, it's just kind of interesting to think about like how lucky they got with being able to get Ghost Rider. And curious if that is what they thought about when they asked for this character, or was it just like what's a minor character that they can definitely say yes to or something like that. I'm actually curious. Um, so yeah.
Um, any closing thoughts on this episode, David?
Just I mean, it was good. Good setup. Good start of the season. Great setup for Ghost Rider. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I would say very strong episode. And to me, it just continues the same level of quality we had from the previous season. Um, I feel like it was. I got to tell you though, before we leave today, this season, boy, do I have such vivid memories of watching this show. Um, because this is one of the things that I carried with me when I moved away to college.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there literally every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. to watch a new episode of this show. Now, yes, things, I think that the ABC let them know ahead of time that the schedule for this season was going to be a little bit weird. Um, so that kind of inspired the team to do these pods, for their structure of this season.
Mm.
But yeah, it was genuinely a joy. This was, I think, to me, the peak as far as like how obsessed I was with the show, because of course it did begin to feel like, oh my god, we're already at the fourth season and the ratings are not improving. Like this Ghost Rider, it was like a Hail Mary. It's like, okay, let's see if this can like renew interest, and it did, but again, it just didn't bring back a lot of those viewers that were there from the very beginning. But this is the season to me that, and I guess it is fitting that it is the best one. But like this is, of all of the other seasons of Shield, this was the one where I was the most invested in. That like I would watch it every Tuesday on live TV. I would read all the reviews. I would even look up like how it performed overnight in the ratings, and then even a week later when they added in the DVR. Like I was very much like a freaking accountant, like looking at the numbers and checking to see like what's the jump this week, how much did it do? Because like at this point, season 5 was not guaranteed.
Mm.
And it very well could have been that this was all that we were gonna get. So yeah. It was a fun time. And it proved to be also one thing that can't go unnoticed here as we go further into this season. A pretty big thing happened in the world in the middle of it, which was the election of Donald Trump. And later on in this season, you have to just, I don't think you would get the same season 4 at the end if it wasn't for Donald Trump's presidency, because they were legit like referencing real world things that he did or said in the framework arc, which is a fascist state took over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird, but it definitely made it feel a lot more potent, relevant, whatever you want to say, woke. I guess if you want to say that it's woke. I know people have their own version of woke. Even I got in the trouble one time when it was like, we're not using woke appropriately. Basically, when I use the word woke, is that the creators behind any kind of story have a point of view, and they're expressing that point of view either like full face in your face or just subtly with like references to what I was just talking about. And they're usually, if not always, aligned with like the progressive democratic socialist side of like, okay, this is what it is. But that's just something that's always kind of been around, and it was never made into an issue until the right wing went whole, like go woke, go broke, as a means to push back against like progressive idea, mindset, whatever you want to say. But if you want to go into the argument of like really what people are talking about woke is, oh, it's liberal progressive politics. How dare you express your point of view? We need to make sure that people stay conservative and so they don't are open to new ideas. So we need to censor you and blah 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 blah. Whatever. The politics of this show been always just been hardcore progressive, and I think it really gets to a new place when we get to this season. I mean, we're talking about a show that later on in future seasons, in the Kitson episode, one of the guys talks about how the Kitson is like the most disgusting, evil hive of scum and villainy, and then it cuts to Piper saying he just described Florida. Yeah. So just to put that out there, I'm sure someone's gonna have a comment about that. I hope not. I hope it's received well what I just said, but I guess we'll find out, right? Anyway, David, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for returning. I want to say that the idea is we're going to drop these on Saturdays now.
Yeah.
Yes. And at the same time, at least for the next month, we are going to have reactions to the Maul Shadow Lord Disney Plus series, which would be dropping on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
So in case anyone has any questions about that, that's what it would be. Anywho, thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.